A mess of dark brown hair clouded your vision as you looked up at Hange. Clearing your throat, you quickly relapsed, laughing nervously as you spoke. Haha, yes, we do. Your eyes now looking anywhere but theirs. Your mind screams as you hope they will take a step back. Hange looked down at you, your eyes looking down to the floor instead of theirs. The two of you stood like that for a moment before they realized that you needed something if you were at their door. Do you need something, my dear? They asked, now taking 2 small steps backwards. Their glasses fell ever so slightly as they did so. Oh yes. I was wondering if I could request some days off. Only if we have nothing too important to do on these days, that is. Your voice was quiet as you took a quick glance up at the taller person. Hange thought for a moment, their mind racing at the way you were looking at them. It was cruel how you made them feel that way. Clearing the mind from those thoughts, Hange smiled. Look at you. I don't see that being any issue, my dear. You will just need to let me run it past the commander beforehand. Should only take a day or two. You nodded, handing the small piece of paper for the dates you needed off before bidding them a good night. Hange looked at the folded piece of paper in their palm, the heat from your brush against theirs slowly fading. What were you doing to them? Hange thought as they opened the door to their mess of an office that also doubled as their living place. Moblet going to kill me if he sees his, they thought before slipping the paper into their jacket pocket. Now where's that book? They mumbled, looking as the mountains of books scared all over the room. After what felt like forever, Hange had finally found the old book they were looking for. It wasn't anything overly fancy. A black leather cover with gold threads embossing the edges of the covers. Haphazardly flipping through the pages until they stopped. Page 222. Book. The LN have served under the royal family for generations. Their main places of residence can be found in the center of Walshina. Known for their aid of humanity as well as their musical talents, this family. The secret of the walls is held within this family. No one POV. Hange didn't bother reading the rest of the page. They stood quickly, making a few loose pieces of paper fall slowly onto the floor of their office. What was an LN doing so far from their home? Hange found their mind racing with all kinds of thoughts as they ran through the old halls of the scout space, only stopping when they burst through Erwin's office doors. At the dorms. You POV. You laughed as you watched Navna fall dramatically onto her bed, tired after the day of training they had. To your left, Sasha and Mikasa were sitting on the other side of your bed. Mikasa was filing her scarf after you lent her one of your sewing needles. So how might you? Asked your best friend, making her look up at you with an eyebrow raised. I don't follow an N. Navna questioned, now sitting upright. Light pink dusted her eyes. I'm sure you laughed as you removed your jacket. You two nearly done? You asked, turning to the younger cadets in your room. Sasha nodded. A knock at the door stopped you all in your tracks. You shared a confused look to Navna, as the two of you never had people come to your door. Walking over to the door, you turned the old wooden handle, letting the door creak open as a short male stood at the other side of the door. Captain Levi, you quickly saluted. Is there something I can do for you, sir? You questioned. The man in front of you held out an off-white envelope addressed to yourself. Who would write me, though, before taking it from his hands? Tell those brats to get back to their room now, Levi spoke, referring to the 104th cadets who were trying to listen to the short conversation. Yes, sir, good night. You said as you watched him walk off the night. You looked to the 2 cadets. You heard the man off Yago. Sasha looked like she was about to say something before she looked up at you. Her mouth quickly closing again. Make sure you dose indeed go back to her room, Mikasa. You said softly to the black-haired girl who nodded. Now walking beside to brown-haired girl who was muttering something you couldn't quite hear. Sighing, you closed the door, letter in hand, before turning back to the blonde female who looked at you blankly. Smirking, you spoke. So back to you and Mike. Navna groaned as you just laughed. The letter now foregone. Now lying on the far side of your bed. 3D POV. Moblet tried his best to stifle a yawn as he walked down the dimly lit halls. Late one night. Letter in hand. Hange had decided they were going to do some research on something he couldn't quite remember. All he knew was he would hand this letter to them before deciding he would drink his nights away. Moblet opened the door. Finding Hange standing there, most of their uniform was off besides their yellow shirt. White trousers, the brown piece of fabric that held the ODM gear in places, and their boots. Their, if it was even possible, looked messy than normal. Moblet, what are you doing? I thought I said you could go to bed for the night. They questioned, looking at Moblet as he closed the door behind him, now leaning against the door of Hange's office. I ran into Levi on my way and said this was an import from the commander. He spoke clearly tired. Hange took the letter from him, looking it over. It was clear that it had already been open. Looking the front of the letter over, Hange stopped when they read the name on the letter that signed it off. This is amazing. Their sudden burst of energy frightened Moblet, and he started to question if this was a bad move on his part to come back so late. Oh, Moblet, don't you see? Oh, I have so many questions that I will now get answers. Hange's voice, though tried, was filled with excitement as they went over the letter a few more times to make sure they understood it right. What does it say, if you don't mind me asking? Moblet questioned. Now moving to sit down on one of the few chairs that weren't covered with a pile of books of reports that should have been done but never were. We have been invited to a party hosted by the L, and they squealed. Now it all made sense, Moblet thought. Yes, well, maybe you could talk to NN about them tomorrow when they come to help you in the afternoon. He spoke aloud, making Hange blush. It wasn't a secret to those who were close or spent a large amount of time with Hange to know they were head over heels for NN and had been for some time now. The small crush had only gotten worse recently when they began to spend more time with each other, and Moblet was betting that the cadet in question felt the same way. Puff, I wouldn't want to bore them with. Hange trailed off, their eyes lighting on the letter and looking at the dates. There was something familiar about them, they were sure of it. Section Commander. The brunette asked, looking at Hange, who just shook their head, muttering something under their breath about asking someone something letter, and left it at that. Mo, it's nothing of imports. You should get some sleep, you look like shit, my friend, they laughed. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss anything I post.